Thank you.
All rise. In the People versus Jordan Graham, the Honorable Judge Gillette presiding. You may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, members of the court, visitors today, thank you for coming. We're here today to hear a case against Ms. Jordan Graham. She's been charged with murder in the second degree for the murder of her husband by pushing him off of a cliff. It is the defense's position that she did so out of self-defense. They are declaring a legal defense of self-defense today. Therefore, the burden of proof shifts to the defense. At the end of this trial, I will ask you to deliberate, and your burden today is to decide whether the defense has proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and that the actions that Jordan Graham took on that day were absolutely necessary to preserve her life. Court is now in session. Mr. Prosecution, do you wish to give your opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we are in court for the murder of Cody Johnson. The defendant was his wife of 8 days. Now, normally when a marriage goes wrong, it ends in a divorce or annulment. But when this one went wrong, it ended with the defendant pushing her late husband over a large cliff, where he died a painful and terrible death. She did so without any grief or remorse. She killed her husband of less than 8 days without grief or remorse. Now, the defense is going to paint you a story of self-defense, but that's all it is, a story. We have tons of evidence proving the guilt of the defendant, and those are the facts. Thank you.
Defense, do you wish to give your opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My name is Jake Susi, and I am one of the defense attorneys here to represent Jordan Graham. Look, we're not here to prove that Jordan didn't push her husband off a cliff. However, we can and we will prove that what happened out of self-defense, an absolute necessity. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman here was fighting for her life, and we have plenty of witnesses to prove it. One of our expert witnesses will show you and tell you about battered women syndrome and how Jordan has developed this syndrome over the course of her relationship with Cody Johnson. Another one of our expert witnesses will tell you that the forensic evidence directly supports Jordan's version of events. We also have character witnesses to show you that Jordan is a kind, sweet-hearted young woman. The prosecution's story is just plain false. And we're sorry that Cody Johnson is dead, but there's nobody to blame for that but him. At the conclusion of this case, we're asking for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. The court needs to enter a password into the projector.
Sorry. Yep.
Court will now resume. Prosecution, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call our first witness, Ms. Kaylee Forrest.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You may be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Kaylee Forrest.
And why are you here today?
I'm an eyewitness in this case.
How old are you?
20.
Are you attending school?
Yes, I attend school at the College of St. Rose in Albany.
And what are you studying there?
Accounting.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, I'm a night auditor at the Hilton.
How long have you been employed there?
For about a year now.
Please tell the court what you did on Friday, June 12th of 2015.
I left that morning as usual and then left campus around 3:30 to go home to pick up my dog.
And why did you pick up your dog?
I pick up my dog every day to take him to Thatcher Park.
And what did you do after you went home to pick up your dog?
I left home around 4 and arrived at Thatcher Park around 4:30 p.m.
What trail did you take?
Indian Ladder.
And how would you describe the Indian Ladder area of Thatcher Park?
It's a trail that leads to a steep cliff edge.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter our first exhibit, number 1, into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what this is?
It's a topographic map of Indian Ladder.
Do you know how high the cliff is from top to bottom?
From the top, it's 912 feet to the bottom.
So, if I'm doing my calculations correctly, 912 feet is equivalent to 80 stories high.
Yes.
Can you please describe your walk?
It was enjoyable, nice, and then something strange happened.
What happened?
I heard a woman yelling.
Did you see this woman?
Yes, as I approached the cliff, I noticed the woman yelling at a man.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 2 into the record.
So noted.
Is this the same cliff that you saw the man and woman on?
Yes.
Could you please point to where you saw them?
There in the circled area.
Can you describe what they were doing?
Well, the woman was yelling at him very loudly, and she seemed to be flailing her arms around frantically.
Could you hear what she was saying?
No, it was hard to understand her.
Do you recognize this woman somewhere into the courtroom?
Yes,
Can you please point her out?
it's her.
Can you please describe how the man was acting that day?
The man remained calm. He seemed in fear of her, like he was trying to calm her down.
And what did you do next?
I continued on my walk. I didn't want to get involved.
And then what happened?
I continued my walk for 10 minutes or so and then turned back.
Did you see the man and the woman again?
As I approached the cliff, I only saw the woman this time.
So you didn't see the man.
No, I assumed he left.
Did you observe anything else?
Yeah, I noticed the woman take off a ring and throw it over the cliff edge, as well as a cell phone.
And what brought you here today?
When I saw the man on the news dead 3 days later, I realized I had information pertaining to this.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hi, Ms. Forrest. How are you today?
Good.
So just to get this understood, you said this incident happened on June 12th?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, as far as we know, this incident happened on June 22nd. So are you sure this is the correct day? Were you there at the right time?
Yeah, it happened on June 12th.
June 12th? Okay. And as far as you seeing them yelling and you saw a guy in fear, why wouldn't you go and see what's going on?
It's not my business to get involved in.
It's not your business, okay. And you saw her take off her ring and throw it,
Yes.
and then you left without saying anything to anyone.
I didn't want to get involved, like I said.
You didn't think you should have told the park ranger or anybody?
Most arguments don't end in murder.
That is true, but you saw a man who was in fear, and you saw them arguing, and you didn't think to tell anybody.
No, like I said, it's not my business.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to read that?
Yes, Your Honor. So it was correctly June 12th that you have seen the woman and the man arguing? after
Yes, it was.
And you called the police 3 days later?
Yes, I did.
And what day would that be?
June 15th.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to read false?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Ms. Leela Joseph to the stand.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may be seated.
Hi, Ms. Johnson. How are you doing today?
Fine.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Leila Johnson.
And what is your reason for being here today?
I am the sister of the victim, Cody Johnson.
How close were you and your brother?
We were so close. We were like joined at the hip.
And what made you two so close?
Well, for one, we were only 2 years apart, and we had similar interests and personalities.
Was there ever a period in time when you and Cody did not get along?
When we began to date Jordan, we didn't talk too much.
And why not?
I didn't approve of their relationship.
Why didn't you approve of Jordan?
Jordan was rude and obnoxious, and she had no class. She's literally every single bad character trait there is.
And why would your brother Cody be with someone like that?
He often justified her behavior on the death of her parents. I think he felt sorry for her.
And was this typical of Cody to feel sorry for someone?
Yes. He was always trying to help those less fortunate than him. He had a soft spot for those in need. My mother and I would often warn him to be careful. We didn't want to see him being taken advantage of.
And do you think Cody was being taken advantage of by the defendant, Jordan Graham?
Most definitely.
And why do you believe that?
Because he would always buy her whatever she wanted. And he said that was the only time she was happy, was when she was buying things.
Do you have any other evidence of Jordan taking advantage of your brother?
She would always ask about money and financial records, and I overheard them have an argument about her portion in the will.
They had an argument over the will?
Yes, they started arguing when they were planning the wedding.
And wasn't your brother Cody murdered just 8 days after the wedding?
Yes. Yes, he was.
Did you receive a text on June 15th, 2015?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 3 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain this?
This is a text message I received on the day he died.
And why do you say a message from his phone rather than your brother himself?
Because he's not the one who sent it, clearly.
What was your initial reaction to this message?
At first, I laughed. I thought it was photoshopped. Then I remembered how he hasn't been contacting me.
And what happened next?
Well, 3 days had gone by, and I still haven't heard from him. And then I received a call from Roxanne Waters.
And what did Roxanne tell you?
She was worried because Cody hasn't been contacting her either. And she said the last she knew was that him and Jordan had gone up to Indian Ladder Trail.
So did you go and look for your brother at Indian Ladder?
Yes, I did.
So right after this phone call, you did go and search for him.
That is correct.
And what happened when you got to Indian Ladder?
I found him. And he was a mess. He was just all mangled and decayed.
Who did you find?
I found him.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 4.
So noted.
Now, I must warn you that this picture you are seeing is incredibly graphic, and I'm terribly sorry that you have to see this. And Ms. Johnson, I'm so sorry that you have to relive this moment again. Is this your brother as you found him that day?
Yes, it is.
And where did you find him?
At the bottom of the cliff and the ladder trail at Thatcher Park.
What did you do next?
I called the police.
Did you think this was an accident?
No, I do not.
And why don't you think this was an accident?
I think Jordan pushed him.
And why is that?
She had motive.
And what was the motive?
She knew about her portion in the will, and she knew how much money she would get if he died.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, Ms. Joseph. So you stated that you and your brother were close before the relationship, correct?
Yes,
And once the relationship took place, you guys were not as close.
that is correct.
And you hated Jordan.
Yes, I did.
So if you hated Jordan so much and you and your brother were not close, Why were you over at their house to overhear this argument they were having?
Jordan wanted me to help plan the wedding to make amends in our relationship.
What if you didn't like her? Why would you be willing to help her?
You know, start fresh. She was going to be a part of the family soon, why not?
Okay. And if your brother only felt sorry for her, why would he be willing to marry this woman?
He probably made her happy.
And as far as you not being so close, was it unusual that you wouldn't hear from him for 3 days?
Yes, it was.
And that was his body you found at the end of the cliff, you said? That body looked pretty decayed to me for 3 days.
It was.
It was. Do you think that's possible within 3 days?
Yes, I do.
All right, nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Prosecution, you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Trooper Ben Pluckros to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may be seated.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Trooper Ben Pluckros.
What is your occupation?
I'm a trooper with the New York State Police Department.
How long have you been employed with the department?
I've been with the department for about 10 years now.
Can you please explain your educational background?
I went to John Jay College School of Criminal Justice and graduated with my bachelor's degree.
Do you have any special certifications?
Yes, I do. I have multiple.
What types of certifications do you have?
I have crime scene investigation, practical homicide training, and several others.
And what unit are you assigned to in the New York State Police?
I'm assigned to the crime scene and evidence collection unit.
And what do you do in this unit?
I get assigned to crime scenes and I process them.
Can you please explain what is involved in your work?
I take crime scene photographs, I bag and collect evidence, I create a crime scene sketch, I call the coroner to collect the body, and I watch the autopsy.
And how did you become involved in this case?
I was dispatched to Thatcher Park in relevance to a deceased male at the location.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 5 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain to the jury what we are looking at here?
This is a copy of the incident report I created for the case.
Can you please read your narrative for us in the report?
Yes, I can. On the above date and time, I responded to Thatcher Park in reference to a deceased male body found at that location. Upon arrival, I met with the complainant, Leila Johnson, who stated she was the victim's sister. I then began processing the scene for evidence.
And what did you do first to process the scene?
First, I secured the scene, making sure that no one is in it. Then I searched for evidence using the grid search technique.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter our next exhibit number 6 into the record.
So noted.
Please describe to the jury what we are looking at.
This is a crime scene photograph of the victim when I first found him.
And what was the condition of the body?
The body was in stage 3 of death, which is putrefaction.
Can you please explain to the jury what putrefaction is?
Putrefaction is an advanced stage of decomposition which assists investigators in discovering time of death.
And did you determine the time of death in this case?
Yes, the victim had died 3 days earlier.
What else can you tell us about the condition of the body?
The body was not intact and several limbs were severed from the main torso.
And what did this signify to you?
This signified that the victim had endured a severe and tremendous amount of blunt force trauma.
Did you have an opinion as to how this occurred?
Yes, it seemed the victim had either fell or was pushed from the cliff above.
Was there any other evidence found at the scene?
Yes, I had also found a woman's ring next to the victim on the ground.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 7 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please tell us about this photo?
This is a crime scene photograph of the ring on the ground that was next to the victim, and I had used a quarter for scale to show measurement and size of the ring.
And what did you do with this ring?
I collected it and bagged it as evidence and confirmed with the complainant, Layla Johnson, that this was in fact the victim's wife's ring.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 8 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what this picture is?
This is a crime scene photograph of a phone that I found on the ground next to the victim.
What did you do with this cell phone?
I bagged it as evidence and sent it to the New York State Police Crime Lab for forensic analysis.
And what did you do next?
Next, I went to the top of the cliff to see if there was any evidence.
And did you find any?
Yes, I found a set of footprints at the top of the cliff near the edge.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 9 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain this photo?
This is a crime scene photograph of the footprints that I found at the edge of the cliff.
And what could you identify within these footprints?
I could identify that there are 2 distinct set of footprints, which indicates that there was more than one person at the top of the cliff.
Is there anything else?
Yes, the footprints seemed frantic and scattered, so I made sure that I sent them to our expert at the crime lab for forensic analysis.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 10 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at here?
This is a copy of my crime scene sketch that I created for the scene.
Please identify what is in your sketch.
Number 1 is the victim's body that I found at the edge of the cliff, at the bottom of the cliff. Number 2 is the ring that I found next to the victim. Number 3 is the phone that I found next to the victim. Number 4, the footprints that I found at the top of the cliff. And this line indicates that this is the cliff edge. And then these are my measurements that I had created from my reference points that I made.
And what happened next?
Next, I called the coroner to collect the body.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, Trooper Ben Buckrose, is it?
Yes, it is.
What's the protocol you use for cross-contamination?
Please read.
Do you know what cross-contamination is, Trooper Ben Buckrose?
Well, yes, I do.
Can you explain what that is?
Cross-contamination is when one set of DNA is contaminating the other, either evidence or victim, causing the evidence to be scrambled.
So surely if you know this, you must have some sort of process you go through to prevent this.
Yes.
And do you have one?
Yes, you wear gloves to make sure that you don't decontaminate it, and you use fresh swabs and tweezers to pick up small evidence.
What about anything to protect the rest of your body?
You wear a suit that's made of latex to make sure that you don't contaminate the evidence.
Do you happen to know what the name of this suit is called?
Yes, but it's very long and it's not needed.
Could you enlighten us?
It's called just a latex crime scene suit.
It doesn't have any certain brand name?
No.
So you, as educated as you are, and with all of the certifications
Objection,
you
Your Honor,
have,
badgering the witness.
Do you have a point, Counselor, that you're getting to?
so you're saying that you can't provide us with a name, even though you go through this protocol every time you observe evidence?
It's called a crime scene latex suit.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Dr. J. Diego to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You may be seated.
Please state your name and age for the record.
Dr. J. Jando, I am 46 years old.
What academic degrees do you have?
I have a PhD in biochemistry,
Where did you get your education?
New York University.
Are you currently employed there?
Yes, I'm a forensic analyst at the New York State Crime Lab.
Have you obtained any specialized forensic training?
Yes, I received forensic training at the FBI Academy.
In what areas are you an expert?
I'm an expert analyst in shoe impressions, DNA, and digital forensic analyst.
How long have you been certified as a specialist?
A little over 20 years now.
What types of experiences have you endured?
I provided professional investigative assistance for many cases, and most recently the Casey Anthony case.
And why are you here today?
I've analyzed the forensic analyst in this case.
Your Honor, prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 11 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at here?
As you can see, these are footwear impressions collected at the crime scene.
And what were your findings?
2 sets of prints. One belongs to the victim, Cody Johnson, and the other to the defendant, Jordan Graham.
Could you determine anything else about these footprints?
Yes, without question, there was a struggle, and Jordan Graham was the aggressor.
And what evidence do you have for this?
Defendant's footprints here and here have a much deeper impression at the front of the imprint than the rest. Displacement of the soil here and here supports this tremendous amount of force.
In your expert opinion, could Jordan Graham have easily pushed Cody Johnson off of the cliff?
Based off the evidence, yes, it is quite possible. Based on the footprints as shown in the exhibit, the defendant was using a great amount of force.
And where exactly did you see a struggle?
The defendant's footprints were overlapping the victims at one point in the exhibit, and the other, yeah. Can you please repeat the question?
And where exactly do you see a struggle?
Here, the defendant's footprint is overlapping the victims, and over here, the victim's footprint is extended sideways.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 12 into the record.
So noted.
What are we looking at here?
This here is an illustration of the 2 sets of footprints found at the cliff's edge of the crime scene.
Please explain.
The larger set was identified as the victim, Cody Johnson. The other set was positively identified as the defendant, Jordan Graham.
And what did this indicate?
The victim was in front, facing the cliff. The defendant was behind the victim, facing in the same direction. This is clearly showing her as the aggressor.
And how does it show that she's the aggressor?
The defendant is behind the victim. This is putting her at a superior advantage. And clearly there's no sign of self-defense. The defendant's footprints have to be facing the opposite direction away from the victim.
Did you analyze any other evidence in this case?
Yes, I analyzed the biological material obtained from underneath the victim's fingernails.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 13 into the record.
So noted.
Now, can you please explain what we were looking at here?
This here is a standard DNA profile, which confirms that the DNA found underneath the victim's fingernails was the defendant's.
So, in your expert opinion, how did the defendant's DNA come to be underneath the victim's fingernails?
This DNA was forced underneath the victim's fingernails in an attempt to fight off his attacker.
Did you also analyze the cell phone found at the crime scene?
Yes, I did.
And what were your findings?
There were several messages in one photo that I authenticated as having come from that phone in their original form.
And why is this significant?
There are witnesses in this case using these messages, and I'm here to certify them as authentic and unchanged from their original condition.
And what does the forensic evidence in this case indicate to you?
Taken all together, the victim tried to grab the defendant in an attempt to save himself from falling off the cliff.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hello, Miss Randall. You seem pretty shaky up there. What's going on?
New shoes.
New shoes? Are you nervous for some reason?
No, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You're turning red and getting really shaky up there.
It's age.
Okay. So, you do realize that Cody and Jordan were married, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible her DNA was under his nails for some other reason?
It's possible.
It is? Okay. And is it possible that she was just trying to stand her ground away from him and that's why her shoe prints are pressed harder because she's smaller than him and he's a tall man?
No, ma'am.
No? So you're gonna tell me this girl right here can overpower a tall, well-built man?
Given the right circumstances, absolutely.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. From the indications in the footprints in the exhibit, how tall and how much did the victim weigh? Give or take, probably around 130 pounds.
And how tall is he?
Probably almost 6 feet.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you tell us by the footprints shown how you know how tall and how much he weighed was?
Well, as shown in one of the exhibits, given the impressions from the imprints, you can tell, like, let's say, from how deep they are. Like, you can tell from the dirt supportive how deep they are.
You don't sound very confident in that answer.
Well, I don't have the exhibit up in front of me.
Can we put the exhibit up?
Is it necessary? Did she answer your question?
Well, my next question was going to be why the prints are the same.
Well, there was a lot of, well, given the fact that the defendant was the aggressor, there's expected to be a lot of overlapping.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
Do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call our next witness, Roxanne Waters, to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the elbow. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Can you please state your name and age for the record?
Roxanne Waters, I'm 25 years old.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed?
Seekers International.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 14 into the record.
So noted.
What is Seekers International?
It's one of the most successful real estate agencies in the nation.
And what is your position there?
I'm a real estate agent.
And how long have you been employed there?
It'll be 7 years in September.
And why are you here today?
Because I have information relevant to this case.
Did you know the victim, Cody Johnson?
Yes, I did.
And how did you know the victim?
We were co-workers at Seekers International.
And did you ever develop a friendship?
Yes, we were very close.
And can you please explain the extent of your relationship?
We were co-workers at Seekers and then we eventually began dating.
And how often did you see Cody outside of work?
We frequently went out for lunch on the weekends and he would sometimes stay the night with me.
Were you aware that he was in a relationship with the defendant, Jordan Graham?
Prior to us dating, I was aware she was in the picture.
And how much did you know about their relationship?
I knew he wasn't happy. He seemed to feel responsible for her.
Did you know that the victim and the defendant had gotten engaged?
Yes.
If you knew they were engaged, why did you continue your relationship with the victim?
He wasn't happy. He kept telling me he was going to leave her, but he was afraid of what she might try to do to herself.
Can you please elaborate on that?
She had severe abandonment issues due to her parents' death. He was afraid that she might try to hurt herself. He didn't want that.
Did the defendant ever come around the office often?
Jordan would come by from time to time, but she would always leave with Cody's credit card.
Did you ever personally meet the victim, the defendant, Jordan Graham?
We met once briefly at a holiday party hosted by Nest Seekers.
And what was your impression of her?
She didn't seem to pay much attention to Cody. She was more focused on our boss.
And what do you mean by that?
She was flirting with our boss right in front of Cody, dancing with him and asking him to bring her drinks.
Did the victim ever tell you how he felt about that?
Yes, he said her actions at the party were rude and embarrassing. It hurt his feelings and made him feel insecure.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 15 into the record.
So noted.
Can you explain to us what we are looking at here?
These are text messages between Cody and I from the last time we talked.
And when were these messages sent?
A few days before Cody's death.
Can you please read the messages aloud to the jury?
Yes. In these text messages, I am the blue and Cody is the gray. I texted him, "Hey babe, where have you been?" He texted, "Can't talk much really. Jordan went through my phone and found out about us. She's making me stay home. Is she with you? No, she took my credit card and went shopping. Can I come see you? No, she will find out. She always does. She's been freaking me out lately. She wasn't like this before. I would never treat you the way she is treating you. I know you wouldn't. I love you so much. I want to call off the wedding. You're the one I want. I want to call off the wedding, but I'm afraid. She scares me. Gotta go. Jordan is back."
Thank you. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 16 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please read these messages aloud to the jury?
Yes. "Hey hon, can't do lunch today. Jordan wants to meet at Thatcher Park." "Okay, that's fine. You won't be seeing Cody anymore." "What? Who is this?"
And can you please read the last sentence in the first message that Cody had sent to you?
"Jordan wants to meet at Thatcher Park."
And what was the reason for it?
Cody told me that they wanted to meet to talk about their relationship.
Thank you. Can you please explain to the jury what those messages meant in your perspective?
I didn't really know what to make of the messages. I figured Cody had changed his mind about leaving Jordan, so I was trying to give him the time he needed to sort things out.
Did Jordan know that you and Cody were seeing each other?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you ever feel threatened by Jordan?
Not until I received the last message. Now I know she's the one who sent it. She wanted me to know I couldn't have him anymore.
And why couldn't you have him anymore?
Because she killed him.
Was Cody afraid of the defendant?
I believe so, yes. That is why it took him so long to leave her. Also, he felt sorry for her.
And did you tell anyone about these messages?
After a few days went by and I hadn't heard from Cody, I called his sister, Leila.
And what did she say?
She hadn't heard from him either, so I told her about them meeting at Thatcher Park.
When you heard that Jordan Graham had been arrested for his murder, what did you think?
I wasn't surprised at all. Unfortunately, I knew it had to be true, from everything that Cody has told me and from what I had seen for myself.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hello, Ms. Waters. How are you today?
I'm fine.
So I just have a few questions for you here. Why would you stay with someone if he had another woman? Like I said, he kept telling me that he was going to leave her, but he was afraid of what she might try to do to herself. You do understand how naive you sound, correct? If that's your opinion. Well, he did marry this woman. You realize that, right? Yes, I do. So if he wasn't happy, why would he go the next step and take marriage? Maybe he thought that would fix things. So why would you still stay around?
Objection, Your Honor. This question has already been asked.
Sustained.
You seem to always want to see him for someone who is saying you were giving him space. And all those messages you kept wanting to see him. That's not giving someone space, is it? Like I said, I wanted to give him space, after he had gone to see Jordan at Thatcher Park, and I figured he had changed his mind about our relationship. Do you know why Cody wasn't happy? Did he tell you? Not that I can recall.
So how close would you say you were?
We were very close. Why wouldn't he tell you what the problems were between them? That is not in my opinion to answer.
How long were the two of you dating?
Maybe 5 years.
5 years. And you do realize he was only with her for 14 months? So if he was madly in love with you, why wouldn't he put the ring on your finger?
I have no idea.
Nothing further, Your Honor, thank you. Do you wish to read that back?
Yes, Your Honor. So you and Cody were co-workers, correct?
Yes, we knew each other from work for 7 years.
And does it make sense to not mix pleasure and business together?
I'm sure it does.
Do you think that is a reason why Cody had not wanted to marry you?
It could be.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have anything further?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Mitchell Griffin to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Mitchell Griffin.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a manager at Macy's department store.
Did you know the victim?
No, I did not.
Do you know the defendant?
Yes, I do. I was her supervisor for a short time while she worked at Macy's.
And what was the defendant's job at Macy's?
She worked in the jewelry department.
And does the defendant still work for you?
No, she doesn't.
And how long did she work for you?
Roughly 5 months.
Can you please tell me why the defendant has no longer worked for you?
Ms. Graham received complaints from customers on more than one occasion, as well as being caught stealing from the store.
What kinds of complaints were filed against the defendant?
Complaints of her being rude and disrespectful towards customers.
And was this on more than one occasion?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 17 into the record.
So noted.
Is this one of the complaints that was filed against the defendant?
Yes, it is.
Can you please read it to us?
I was looking to buy my wife a necklace for our anniversary. I found one that I was interested in, and when I asked an employee what she thought about it, she responded with, "I don't know what your wife likes. Why don't you ask her?" I then stated I would simply appreciate her opinion, to which she said, "They don't pay me to give my opinion." I left it at that and took my business elsewhere.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 18 into the record.
So noted.
Is this another complaint?
Yes, it is.
Can you please read it out loud to us?
I was looking at a pair of earrings that I was considering purchasing when an employee approached me and asked me what I was doing. I told her I was interested in the earrings and would appreciate it if she could tell me what they were priced at. She then told me that those were her earrings and that she had paid for them earlier in the day and forgot to take them out of display. I then told her that that was ridiculous, and if she had paid for them, she shouldn't have them on display. She then told me, "Well, too bad. These are my earrings. Go find something else."
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 19 into the record.
So noted.
What is this item?
This is a pyramid stud open cuff bracelet in 14 karat gold. The defendant sold this item.
And what is this item valued at?
$300.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 18 into the record.
So noted.
20. Excuse me.
This is a diamond tennis bracelet in sterling silver. The defendant stole this as well. Valued at $600.
And were there ever charges pressed against the defendant?
No, there wasn't. She returned the property once I confronted her about it. We didn't want to see her having a criminal history, so we simply fired her.
And what were your personal opinions regarding the defendant?
When she first started working, she seemed nice, easy to get along with, but not after. It didn't take very long to realize that how much she valued money and material things more than the people around her.
Do you have any examples that support this?
She would often spend her time looking at jewelry and clothes throughout the store. Well, after only a month of working at the store, she asked for a raise, which of course I didn't give her, especially given her work ethic.
Have you ever had any complaints made against you as a supervisor?
Definitely not. During my time working for Macy's, I've been selected as manager of the month 12 times.
Did you ever say anything or do anything inappropriate to Ms. Graham?
Absolutely not. I think she can be deceiving. I think she's a liar. And that sounds like something she could make up just to get attention.
Have you ever had any contact with the defendant since she was fired?
I have not.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, Mr. Griffin.
Hello.
What would you say if we have a coworker of yours who is a witness to you sexually harassing Miss Graham?
I would say I have no idea what you're talking about.
How do you handle female coworkers?
The same I would any other employee or coworker.
Can you elaborate? How would you treat them if they were upset or needed some advice or something?
I would ask to see if there's anything I could do to help. But if not, I would leave it at that. If I could, then I would do what I could.
Would you become flirtatious with them?
I would not.
And do you have any proof of Jordan stealing these things you accused her of?
I have security had caught her at the door when she exited the store. An alarm was triggered, and security found the jewelry in her bag.
Do you have a witness saying he found this?
I do not.
Don't you think that's important to have? Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. So you say that the security had stopped her when the alarm had went off for stealing the jewelry?
Yes.
And we do not have a security guard here today, correct?
Correct.
Do you think this is relevant?
Not to this case, not to the murder.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to recross?
Yes, Your Honor. So during this case, you felt the need to bring up that Jordan was a thief. She always wanted money. Why wouldn't the security guard or even photos of her stealing this be relevant? You're accusing my client of being a thief, and you have nothing to prove that besides your word. Anything to say for yourself? Mr. Griffin?
Perhaps the prosecution thought that his presence alone would have been enough.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Is that what they thought? The witness is sick. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Ms. Sadie Curran to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the code. You swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can sit here.
Can you please state your name for the record? Sadie Curran. What do you do for a living? I'm a financial advisor at Edward Jones Financial Company in Shore, New York. What is your education? I attended Franklin University and got my bachelor's degree in financial planning. Then I interned on Wall Street and eventually got a job there. Where did you intern on Wall Street? The Wall Street Financial Group. Can you please explain to the jury what the Wall Street Financial Group is?
It's a privately owned company run by independent investment advisors and financial professionals.
How long did you intern there before becoming employed?
I interned with the company for 8 months.
What was your position with the company once they employed you?
I started off as an investment advisor and then worked my way up to manager of the company.
How long were you an investment advisor before you were promoted?
A year,
And how long were you the manager?
2 years.
Did you know the victim, Cody Johnson?
I did.
What was your relationship with the victim?
I was his financial advisor.
How long was Cody Johnson your client?
4 years.
And what kinds of things did you do for Cody?
I reviewed his financial records and went over them with him and helped him get them in order.
What else did you do for Cody?
I drafted his life insurance policy and will.
Was there ever a time when Cody came to you to change his will and life insurance policy?
Yes.
And when did he come to you to change them?
May 9th, 2015.
And what changes did the victim want to make in his will and life insurance policy?
He wanted to change the beneficiary on both of those documents.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 21 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what this picture is?
This is the victim's original life insurance policy.
And can you please explain what a beneficiary is?
A beneficiary is a designated recipient of property and funds under a life insurance policy or trust.
And is it the same for a will as well?
Yes.
Please walk us through the victim's original life insurance policy.
The victim's life insurance policy was valued at $250,000. His primary beneficiary was his mother, Brittany Johnson. If his mother were to predecease him, his money would then go to his sister, Leila.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 22 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what this picture is?
This is the victim's new life insurance policy.
And who is the new beneficiary of this document?
Jordan Graham.
Can you please walk us through this document?
Again, his life insurance policy is valued at $250,000. His mother and sister are no longer included. Jordan is named his sole beneficiary. These changes were made a little less than a month before the couple got married.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 23 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain to us what this picture is?
This is Cody's original will.
And who is the original beneficiary in this victim's will?
His mother.
Can you please walk us through it?
This document states that all of Cody's real and personal property will go to his mother upon his death. If his mother were to predecease him, his real and personal property would then go to his sister.
And who did Cody name as his new beneficiary in his will?
Jordan Graham.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 24 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please walk us through this document?
This document states that Jordan is to receive all of Cody's real and personal property.
Did you ever meet Jordan Graham?
Yes.
And do you recall how she was acting the day you had met her?
She was very involved in the process. She was excited about it. She asked a lot of questions.
And what kinds of questions did she ask?
She wanted to know exactly how much money she would be getting after Cody's death and exactly the amount of time it would take for her to receive it.
And can you please repeat the amount of money that the defendant would have received upon the victim's death?
$250,000.
Did the defendant ever get angry while she was in your office?
Yes.
What had happened to cause that?
She was very upset when I told her the amount of time it would take for her to get the money.
And how long would it take for the defendant to receive the victim's money upon his death?
6 months to a year.
6 months to a year. That seems like a fair amount of time to receive some money. Why did she become upset with this?
She said waiting 6 months to a year to collect her husband's money was ridiculous.
And did she ever ask you anything to help the process go faster?
Yes, she demanded that I do something.
And what was your response to the defendant?
I told her I had absolutely no control over the process.
And did the victim ever try to calm the defendant down during this event?
No, he didn't say much. He sat back while Jordan argued with me.
And why do you think that is that?
He was intimidated by her.
What did the victim say after the defendant left your office?
He didn't say much. She just apologized for Jordan's actions, and then he left.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you say it's normal after a couple gets married or beforehand to change the life insurance policy?
Yeah,
So what's the big deal with Jordan being put on it?
Cody wasn't put on hers.
How do you know this? Are you her financial advisor?
No, I'm not.
So how can you tell me this?
The couple discussed it when they met with me
And why do you think Cody didn't calm her down?
because he was intimidated by her.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Prosecution, do you wish to read the verdict?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may sit down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Ms. Brittany Johnson to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? May you see me?
Please state your name for the record.
Brittany Johnson.
And how old are you?
I'm 58.
What is your education?
I went to Avo Park High School, then went to SUNY Albany, where I graduated with my accounting degree.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, I've worked at KeyBank for over 30 years.
And what is your position there?
I'm the branch manager.
And why are you in court today?
I'm the victim's mother, and I have key information related to his murder.
Can you please describe Cody as a child?
He was quiet. He didn't have many friends. It wasn't until high school that he started to branch out.
Can you give an example?
He started joining clubs and bringing home friends when he went to college. High school, I'm sorry.
How old was Cody when he started dating?
It was around junior year in high school.
Can you describe some of the girls that Cody has brought home?
All of the girls I met were very nice and respectful to his father and I.
Can you describe the way Cody had interacted with his girlfriends?
He would always include them in family activities. He was very attentive to them.
And at what age did Cody move out of the house?
He moved away when he went to college.
How often did you see your son after he moved out?
Cody had called every day to check up on his father and I, and he came home on every school break.
Can you describe your son?
He was very sweet and charismatic. He was a mama's boy.
And do you know the defendant?
I do. She was married to my son.
How long have you known Jordan Graham?
I met her 8 months ago.
And what was the reason for you meeting her?
Cody had brought her so that his father and I could meet her.
What was your first impression of Jordan Graham?
I was very surprised. She was the complete opposite of all the other girls Cody had dated.
So how would you describe her?
She was very rude and disrespectful.
Can you describe her behavior with the family?
We would try to get to know her, and she would give one-word responses to I and Cody's father.
And did she ever have any questions regarding your family's past?
She had many questions regarding our family's history and antiques.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter exhibit number 22 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we are looking at here?
This is our family's china set that has been passed down through the generations, starting with our forefather, Andrew Johnson. Its value is over $30,000.
Can you describe Jordan and Cody when they were together?
He would always try and include her in family activities, but she'd never want to come. She was always anxious to leave.
Can you describe Jordan's behavior after the engagement?
She completely changed. She suddenly became family oriented.
And how did she become family oriented?
She always wanted to discuss the wedding.
What aspects of the wedding did she focus on?
She wanted to know how much Cody's father and I were able to put into the wedding.
And what were the things that you had paid for?
We paid for her wedding dress.
And did you pay for anything else?
Yes, we paid for the entire wedding. We knew her parents weren't in the picture, so we wanted to try and give her everything that she wanted.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to present exhibit number 26 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain to the jury what we are looking at here?
This is the wedding dress Jordan had to have.
And why did she have to have this?
She wanted everything to be as elaborate as it could.
And what is this dress valued at?
Over $30,000.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to present exhibit number 27 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain to the jury what we are looking at here?
This is the reception hall that Jordan had picked out. She had to have everything very elaborate, so that's how we ended up at the Taj Mahal.
And how much did the wedding end up costing in total?
Over $172,000.
Was your son ever violent?
Of course not. My son was the most mild-mannered person you could ever meet.
And what do you think about the defendant claiming it was self-defense and that your son, Cody, had attacked her?
That is a complete lie. Now I know that was her plan all along.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. You sounded confused about the information about your son. Why is that?
What information?
I'm sorry. Is it possible that you only know the good side of your son?
Well, considering the fact that he was always with his family, I think I know him pretty well.
Would it be possible that you're maybe trying to put the bad side behind you?
No.
You said you didn't like Jordan?
I mean, I only knew her for 8 months.
And you do know that her parents died?
Yes. That's why we paid for the entire wedding.
Where did all this money come from? Your, sorry. Where did all this money come from if you're only a banker? Did you
It's been passed on through the generations.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Johnson, was there ever a bad side of Cody?
Not that I've seen.
And you've known your son all your life, considering that you are his mother.
Yes.
So, is there ever a time where he's acted up or really made a horrible mistake?
Not that I know of. He's always been very mild-mannered.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to recross?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you've said you have not seen this bad side, but there is a chance there is one. Is that correct?
I mean, he's always been hanging around the family, like I've said. So, I mean,
But you did state that he made friends in high school and after college he moved out. So there is a possibility your son changed. Is that correct?
there's always a possibility.
Okay, and can you tell me what your previous family did? How you got all this money? What were they involved in?
Like I said, with our family's China set, that's just one example. It's been passed down through Andrew Johnson.
I understand that, but your China set was just in your living room, so you didn't cash that in for money, so you don't have that money.
Nobody had many other antiques.
Like, can you elaborate?
We had another China set that got passed down.
How much was that?
I'd say $100,000.
Okay, so your family didn't have any occupation that brought them in money, you guys just sold antiques?
Objection, relevance.
Sustained. Nothing further, Your Honor. Prosecution, you wish to read out.
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, prosecution Rice.
Defense, you may call your first witness.
Defense would like to call Brandon Apstead.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Brianna Nash.
And why are you here today?
I'm a good friend and was a coworker of the defendant, Jordan Graham.
How long have you and Jordan known each other?
About 8 or 9 years.
Are you employed?
Yes, I work at Macy's in the cosmetics section.
How long have you worked at Macy's?
Jordan and I got the job when we were 17.
And you said you were a coworker of Jordan?
Yeah, she was fired.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 1 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain to the jury what we're looking at here?
This is the first floor of Macy's. Right there is the cosmetics section, and right there is the jewelry section.
Did you see Jordan every day at work?
Yes.
What about outside of work?
Yeah, she lived with me until she moved in with Cody.
And how often would you say you saw her when she moved in with Cody?
We still spent every Sunday together, and I would see her at work.
Could you describe how Jordan was with her clients or with her customers?
She was great with them. She always went above and beyond, and she loved to see them happy and feeling good about themselves. She would say if something looked good on them.
How did Jordan get along with other coworkers?
She didn't have any problems with anyone except for our manager, Mitch.
What kind of problems did Jordan and Mitchell have?
He was always harassing her and wouldn't leave her alone.
Can you explain how he harassed her?
He wanted to go out with her, and she wasn't interested. He was always flirting and making sexual gestures.
Anything else?
He would make comments on her body and touch her inappropriately.
Did you ever witness this yourself?
Yeah, I heard him say some things and touch her. And I saw texts where he told her that if she said anything, that he could get her fired.
Why didn't you or Jordan just report him then?
Who was going to believe us? He's our manager. We didn't want to lose our jobs.
Did he ever bother you personally?
No.
Do you know anything about Jordan borrowing jewelry from Macy's for her own use?
Yeah, she told me something about that. She said Mitchell completely exaggerated, though, because she wouldn't go out with him.
What did she say happened?
She lost a pair of earrings, and she put some in from the store. So she was going to go on her lunch break to pay for them, but that's when Mitchell grabbed her, and she completely forgot about the earrings because she was so upset.
So then why didn't she just pay for the jewelry the next day?
She was going to, but that's when she got fired.
How well did you know about Jordan and Cody's relationship?
I knew a great deal, but there were some things I wish I didn't know.
Were you ever aware of Cody abusing Jordan?
Yeah, it was terrible. I had to help cover bruises from the cosmetics department.
Why wouldn't she just leave him?
Because she thought she owed it to him to stay. She thought she made him hit her, and she really loved him, so.
And then why did she marry him?
She thought marriage would fix things and stop the abuse.
Do you have any knowledge of Jordan being aggressive towards Cody?
No, it's not possible. She couldn't hurt a fly. She was the sweetest, most mild person, and she really, really loved him.
How often did Jordan say he would abuse her?
Lately, I would get a text every few days about it.
So you're saying over time the abuse between Cody and Jordan has gotten worse?
Unfortunately.
In your opinion of Jordan Graham, is she capable of premeditating the murder of her husband, Cody Johnson?
Absolutely not. It's not possible. I knew as soon as I saw the news report that he must have really tried to kill her, and it had to have been his life or hers.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you wish to cross.
Yes, Your Honor. Hi, Ms. Nash. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm fine. So you say you were a good friend of the defendant?
I still am.
Okay. And you've been employed at Macy's for how long?
Well, we got the jobs when we were 17, and I'm 23 now.
So 17. I thought that Macy's hired starting at 18.
No, we got hired at 17. Things might have changed since then, though.
Okay. And you said that you've received text messages of the defendant complaining to you that her husband had abused her and that your manager, Mitchell Griffin, had sexually harassed her, correct?
Yes.
Do you have these text messages?
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
And why aren't there any exhibits of them?
I just didn't think it was necessary to show them because there were so many of them in so many different occasions.
Well, I mean, if it's really that big of a deal and if it's a big enough deal for you to bring it up in court, then it should be allowed to be shown as an exhibit.
Well, we can only hope that it doesn't continue, or next time we'll have to bring them.
That's correct. All right. And you say that you've seen your manager, Mitchell Griffin, touch and say sexual things to her? Is that
Yes.
correct? And why didn't you do anything about it?
I already told you, I didn't want to lose my job, and he even told her that he would get us fired.
But she's your best friend. Are you telling me that you won't even risk her job for her?
Her and I both agreed that if we said something, we would both get fired. We lived together. There was no one else to pay for our rent.
Okay, and you can always find another job, is that correct?
Yeah,
And you guys have been best friends for 8 or 9 years?
yeah,
So you would say that you're close.
yeah, of course.
So why wouldn't you just go down with your best friend if you knew that the both of you would get fired?
We could have, but like I said, we agreed that we would just stick it out together. She could always come to me to tell me when there was a problem.
Well, I mean, she did get fired and you didn't leave.
You're right, because he didn't do anything to me.
But you just said that you would stick together with your best friend.
She wasn't being harassed anymore after she was fired. He couldn't see her.
Okay. And from what I saw in the exhibits, your areas were pretty close, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to the defendant while you were working?
Of course.
And it was just simple talk, correct?
Yeah.
Now, my witness said that you guys didn't, well, that the defendant did not have a good work ethic. And you two talking back and forth to each other on the job, that's not good work ethic.
Relevance. They're getting a little off topic.
Sorry, Your Honor, I'm just trying to prove that she was not a good employee, and I'm trying to state a good reason why she was fired.
And
Have you ever gotten in trouble at work?
No.
Has Jordan ever been in trouble at work?
Other than when she got fired, no.
Can you describe in your own opinion what is not okay to do at work?
I mean, obviously, you have to get the job done. It's not okay to goof off, but she didn't do that.
But you two just said that you spoke back and forth to each other on the job.
Yeah, we
Nonchalant.
had what you asked if I saw her at work. I did. And we spent lunch together.
Actually, I said, did you ever talk back and forth to each other at work? I did not say that. And did you know about the meeting at Thatcher Park?
Yes.
And did the defendant ever ask to go along with you?
Objection, beyond the scope of the witness.
overruled. You can ask questions.
Did the defendant ever ask you to go with her to Thatcher Park for the meeting with the victim?
No.
And why is that?
I don't know. It's a private conversation. Why would I have to be there?
But she told you everything about the victim and her relationship. She told you that he had abused her. Why wouldn't she ask you to go along to meet a man by herself who she's scared to death of?
Thatcher's pretty public. You would think someone would see it, and obviously they did. They just weren't a big enough person to say anything to anyone.
And if it wasn't their business, then why would they say anything?
Because if she's so scared, then she would say something. The same reason you want me to be there.
And why didn't you say anything to the victim? I'm sorry?
Objection, none of this was brought up in direct examination.
Sustained. You need to ask questions directly to her testimony.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
I would like to call Sahara Young to stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the elbow. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Please state your name for the record,
Sahara Young.
and why are you here today?
I used to see Jordan and her husband on a regular basis where I work.
And where exactly do you work?
I'm a bartender at Route 66 Pub and Eatery.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 2 into the record.
So noted.
Can you explain what this picture is?
This is Route 66 Pub.
How long would you say you've worked there for?
I saw Jordan and her husband every Friday night while working at the bar. I'd say I got to know them pretty well.
How long would you say you've worked at the Route 66 pub?
I've worked there for 3 years.
And you said that you got to know Jordan and Cody pretty well. What was your overall impression of them?
They seemed like a nice couple at first.
Did your impression of them ever change?
Yes, as time went on, I began to see a dark side to them.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
They started having public arguments, and some of those public arguments resulted in Cody becoming violent towards Jordan.
Can you describe what you mean by violent?
On one occasion, I saw Cody slap Jordan across the face. On another, I saw Cody grab her by her hair and yank her outside. The last time I saw them, he told her she was good for nothing and grabbed her by the arm and they left.
What did they argue about?
They would argue about everything,
Can you be more specific?
like anything from financial issues to something as small as what was for dinner the next day.
Was Jordan ever the aggressive one?
No, not that I ever saw. She definitely seemed afraid of him.
Did anyone else at the bar witness the events?
I'm sure they did, but everyone just moved away. No one ever wants to get involved.
Did you ever call the police?
No, I wish I had. We didn't want the bad publicity.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, we are a business and customers don't want to go to a bar that they think cops are at. We couldn't afford to lose customers.
How did you hear about this case?
I heard about it on the news.
What do you think when you heard the story?
I couldn't believe Jordan committed Cody. She just didn't have it in her. She was like a little puppy dog.
You have the scope of the witness.
Oh, she was like a little puppy dog. I knew there had to be more in the story.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. So you knew the couple well? Yes. And you said that they were nice people at first? Yes. And why didn't you stop Cody when he hit Jordan? Like I said, we didn't want the bad publicity. Like customers don't want to go to a bar that they think cops are at. But no one said anything about you calling the cops. We just asked that, why didn't you stop him? I didn't want to get involved. It's not my situation. Okay. And how many drinks did you say that Cody and Jordan would have? I'm not sure. And could you tell if Cody was getting a little aroused? Yes. But not aroused sexually, violently. Yeah. And did you continue to serve Cody drinks? Yes, but it wasn't because of the alcohol that he became violent. And did you ever see the victim outside of the bar? No, I did not. So how could you know that the victim, it wasn't just the alcohol that had made Cody violent? Because he would do it even if he wasn't drinking at the time.
How would you know that if you didn't see him outside the bar?
Because I searched him the drinks. And you sounded hesitant, and you also said sorry to the defendant. Why is that? During your direct testimony, you said sorry to the defendant. Why is that?
I did not say that.
I'm pretty sure that there are a few witnesses saying that you did indeed say sorry. Why would you be sorry? Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, you were the bartender, correct?
Yeah.
So you were behind the bar. On Friday nights, would you say that the bar got pretty crowded?
Yes.
So it's not up to you to handle the situation, correct?
Yeah.
And after every argument or fight they would get into, they would eventually leave right after that directly?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Prosecution, do you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, you say over and over again that the defendant and the victim had argued over and over again at your bar. Why did you ever let them back in? You said you didn't like publicity, the bad publicity. Why would you allow them back into the bar? They always argued.
Because no one complained about it.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Defense would like to call Dr. Jake Marshall to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the penal code. Do you swear to tell the truth and the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
Please state your name for the record.
Dr. Jake Marshall.
Could you tell us why you're here today?
I'm here to testify on behalf of Jordan Graham and about her battered woman syndrome.
What's your current occupation?
I'm a psychiatrist.
And what's your educational background?
I have obtained a doctoral degree in psychiatry from Stanford,
Where did you go to medical school?
Harvard University.
Harvard, that's like really up there.
Yeah.
Did you train under anyone?
I trained under the world famous Park Deeks.
Where do you currently work now?
I own my own practice named Marshall Psychiatry Services.
How long would you say you've been a psychiatrist for?
About 10 years now.
Is Jordan one of your clients?
She is.
And how long has she been your client?
About 3 years.
How frequently did Jordan come in to see you?
Once every 2 weeks.
And what was the reason she came to see you?
In the beginning, it was about her parents dying, and then like later, it was about problems she was having at work, and then it was about her abusive relationship.
So you said you're here to testify that Jordan has battered women syndrome?
Yes,
Can you explain to the jury what that is?
it is a set of signs and injuries seen in a woman who is in an abusive relationship, and then the abuser is usually their partner or relative.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 3 into the record.
So noted.
Doctor, could you please explain what we're looking at here?
This is a regular cycle of abuse, and then like what it is like number 1 is where the tension starts building, and then number 2 is when the incident happens, and then 3 is reconciliation, where the abuser is apologetic and usually gives gifts to like apologize, and then number 4 is when everything calms down, but then usually it just recycles.
Thank you. So in your expert opinion, did Jordan live in this cycle of abuse with Cody?
Most definitely. As you can see in our counseling in the last year, every incident always involved Cody getting abused. So,
Did you ever recommend for Jordan to maybe keep a log of the abuse she went through?
yeah, I told her to write down journal entries whenever Cody got abusive.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 4 into the record.
So noted.
And could you please explain what this is?
This is a journal entry from Jordan.
Could you please read this journal entry?
This is from June 21st, 2015. It says, "Dear Diary, I came home to find Cody was in bed with his mistress. I ran out of the house, and then went back to the house to gather my things and spend the night at Breeze. But when I came back, it was just Cody. And when he saw me grabbing things, he pinned me to the wall and told me I could never leave. He choked me until I almost passed out, and then he just kept hitting me. I promised him I would spend the night at our house, so I'm sleeping on the couch. He promised me things were going to change. I think we need a separation. We're going to Thatcher to talk tomorrow."
Thank you. So if Cody was abusive, why didn't Jordan leave?
Women in abusive relationships may feel devalued if, like, the woman leaves, or they may feel they have failed in a relationship.
So, in your expert opinion, doctor, do you think Jordan murdered her husband?
No, our counseling sessions have been going well. She was getting the courage to leave, as you see in the journal. But when the woman tries to leave, Cody would get abusive maybe, and he would try to attack the victim if they left.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to press?
Yes, Your Honor. Are you a little nervous?
No, I'm fine.
You seem a little,
I just stumble on my words a lot.
okay. And you use hesitant words as maybe. Why do you say maybe instead of saying exactly what you mean?
That is what I mean. It's not always true, but in this case it was.
And you said that, well, this entry that was just shown, it happened on June 21st, correct? 2015?
Yes.
Well, the meeting at Thatcher Park happened on June 12th, 2015. So how could she have possibly seen the victim in bed with his mistress on June 21st?
This is what she wrote.
So is it possible that the defendant was lying?
No.
Well, how is it true then if Cody had been dead since June 12th, 2015?
Counselor, maybe you should go to your discovery sheet and decide what the date was, because obviously somebody's wrong. But the prosecution had the case first, so whatever date they put is the date that it happened. I don't have it myself in front of me. But regardless, it still had, he still has a very substantive testimony, and we should get into that rather than dates.
Of course, I was just curious. And as a psychiatrist, there is a confidentiality between you and your client unless the client is in danger. Do you have any reports to show of that?
No. It's patient-client confidentiality. I have no reason to say anything about that.
But she was in danger.
Doesn't matter.
Thank you. Nothing further than that.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Defense would like to call Dr. Taylor Ambrosano to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the opposed. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can see it.
Please state your name for the record,
Dr. Taylor Lozano.
and why are you here today?
I'm here to testify on behalf of Jordan Graham.
Can you tell us about your educational background?
I went to Stanford University and have a degree in general medicine.
And are you employed?
Yes,
What is your occupation?
I am a general practitioner and have been for 21 years.
What kind of patients do you see?
We see patients of all ages and ailments.
How do you know Jordan?
Jordan has been one of my patients for more than 15 years.
Has she been to your office for treatment in the last year?
Yes, several times.
Can you summarize what the most recent visits have been for?
In the past year, some of Jordan's injuries have been cuts, bruises, and broken bones.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 5 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain what we're looking at here?
This is one of the injuries Jordan has come to see me with over the past year.
And what was your diagnosis for this injury?
Jordan had a black eye with a minor concussion due to being physically assaulted.
Did she ever tell you who assaulted her?
Yes, she stated it was her boyfriend, Cody.
What was the date of this visit?
May of 2014.
Thank you. Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 6 into the record.
So noted.
Was this another injury Jordan came to see you for?
Yes, this is a picture of Jordan's throat from September 2014. This is bruising on her throat due to being choked by her boyfriend, Cody.
Thank you. Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 7 into the record.
So noted.
And this last photo, doctor, can you explain this injury?
This injury was from January of 2015. This is a picture of Jordan's chest with severe scratches that started to become infected due to being attacked and choked by Cody.
Did you try to assist Jordan in any way other than medical treatment?
Yes, I recommended Jordan to the Unity House, which is a domestic violence shelter, to talk to someone.
Doctor, if you knew your patient was in an abusive relationship, why didn't you report it to the police?
I didn't want to break doctor-patient confidentiality.
When would you say was the last time you saw Jordan?
I last saw Jordan on Friday, June 22nd of 2015 at 6 p.m. in my office.
And what did Jordan come to see you for?
Jordan had a broken nose with a major laceration across her face.
How did this injury occur?
Jordan told me she was going to meet Cody up at Thatcher Park to talk about their relationship and break up with him, but things had turned violent.
Did Jordan have any other injuries?
Yes, a clump of hair with tissue was torn out of her scalp, and she had severe scratches on her chest that were about 3 centimeters deep.
Did Jordan tell you anything else about the fight?
No, she did not.
She didn't tell you that she had pushed Cody off of a cliff?
No, she did not, but I am not surprised.
And why are you not surprised?
She was in complete shock. It was obvious she wasn't thinking clearly.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Could the injuries that were in the exhibits been self-inflicted?
No, they could not.
And how could they be?
They were too severe for one to do them to themselves.
And how could the scratches be infected?
From being open too long.
You sound a bit hesitant.
Maybe I am.
Why would you be hesitant?
I don't know.
Are you nervous?
Nope.
And if she was so scared of Cody, why would she tell her doctor and not, let's say, a social worker, counselor?
She had a psychiatrist talk to.
And why didn't you tell anyone about these spousal abuse events?
Like I said, I didn't want to break doctor-patient confidentiality.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may sit down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Defense would like to call Alexis Sherman to the stand.
Raise your right hand, left hand on the hood, you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated.
Would you please say your name for the record?
Alexis Sherman.
And what are you here for today?
I'm here to provide a professional knowledge on Jordan Graham in this case.
What's your educational background?
Master's degree in social working and counseling.
And are you employed?
Yes.
Whereabouts do you work?
Unity House.
What's your position at the Unity House?
Director.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 8 to the record.
So noted.
Can you please tell us what we're looking at here?
That's Unity House.
And can you explain what the Unity House is?
It's a domestic violence shelter.
And what exactly does the Unity House do?
It provides counseling and legal support and emergency shelter for anyone who's being abused in a relationship.
How long would you say you've worked there for?
17 years.
Have you ever seen Jordan before?
Yes.
And where have you seen her?
She came to the Unity House to inquire about our services.
When exactly did she come to the Unity House?
June of 2015.
And what did she come to see you for?
She came to talk about her abusive relationship.
What did Jordan tell you about the relationship?
She said she was in an abusive relationship and that she was afraid her boyfriend was going to kill her.
Did you happen to see any injuries on Jordan?
Yes, she had bruises on her arms and neck and a black eye that was poorly covered up with makeup.
Did you believe she was being abused?
Yes, I did.
And why was that?
Because you never try to cover up an accident with makeup. She was obviously hiding it to cover for someone.
Was there any other reason you believe she was in an abusive relationship?
Yes, the abusive episodes she described to me were very detailed, and they're a perfect description of the domestic violence definition.
What other observations did you make about Jordan?
She was very quiet and very nervous. She seemed really scared, and she looked like she hadn't slept in a long time.
What exactly happened during her visit?
I gave her several papers of information and tried to counsel her, but I just wanted to let her know what was available to her.
And what happened next?
She said thank you and left.
Did she indicate if she would come back to use your services?
No,
Did you ever see Jordan Graham again?
no, not until I saw what happened on the news.
Were you surprised that she didn't return for your help?
No, I was sad but not surprised.
And could you explain why you weren't surprised?
Because domestic violence victims often don't leave their abusers. They don't believe they can, or they're too afraid to. They believe that their abuser will change, but unfortunately they don't.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Prosecution, you wish to cross?
No, Your Honor.
The witness may sit down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense would like to call Dr. Blaise Gallimore to the stand.
Raise your hand. But do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state your name for the record.
Dr. Blaise Gallimore.
And why are you here today?
I'm here to provide my expert opinion on the forensic evidence in this case.
Can you tell us what your educational background is?
I obtained a doctoral degree in forensic studies at the University of Central Florida.
And what is your profession?
I'm the owner and scientist of my own profession called Gallimore Forensics.
Can you tell me what your work experience is?
I worked in training with Miami Police Department for 10 years in forensics. I then went to the FBI for 5 years. I then decided to leave to create my own business.
And when did you become involved in this case?
I was hired by Jordan to analyze the evidence against her.
And how did you come across this evidence?
I subpoenaed it after the New York State Crime Lab finished their examinations.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 9 into the record. So noted. Can you explain to us what we're looking at?
This is the hair and tissue samples found at the crime scene.
Did you examine this evidence?
Yes, I did.
And what were your findings?
Since there is tissue with the hair and scalp, I examined it to confirm that it was Jordan Graham's.
Do you have a professional opinion as to how much hair and tissue could be ripped out of someone's scalp?
Yes, I believe a violent struggle had occurred.
And how did you come by this opinion?
I used a tensile strength experiment to find how his hair was forcibly ripped out.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 10 into the record. So noted. Can you tell us what tensile strength is?
Tensile strength is the measurement required to forcibly pull something to the point where it breaks. There are 3 typical definitions of tensile strength. Yield strength, which is the stress a material can withstand without permanent deformation. Then ultimate strength, which is the maximum stress a material can withstand. Then breaking strength, which is the stress coordinate on the stress strain curve at the point of rupture.
And can you explain to us why this is important?
Based on the graph, it shows it would take a tremendous amount of strength to do this.
In your expert opinion, could someone rip this much hair out of their own head?
No, someone could not. It'd be too much pain for them to deal with.
So would you say someone did this to her?
Someone had to do this to her.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 11 into the record. So noted. Can you please explain to the jury what we are looking at?
These are multiple footprints found at the crime scene.
Do you know who these prints belong to?
Yes, I examined the prints with the shoes the victim was wearing and the shoes the police took from Jordan Graham as evidence.
Other than these prints belong to, do you have an opinion as to what happened up on the cliff that day?
Yes, there is no doubt a violent struggle had occurred.
And how do you know this?
The red circled footprints here are Cody's, and the depth of this footprint show his foot was planted in order to fight or swing at Jordan.
Is there anything else?
The blue footprints are Jordan's, and they're light to show she was trying to move away from Cody.
How do you know the depth of these prints show these actions?
Cody's print was planted deep in the soil due to center weight to show he was able to stay motionless, while Jordan's were light enough to show she was trying to run away from.
Why are Cody's prints going backwards towards the cliff?
Cody's back print is lighter than the front to show he was moving backwards due to possible push or force.
Does your forensic analyst support a self-defense?
Yes, without a doubt.
How do you explain the prosecution having a different opinion?
Their expert is incompetent.
Nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor. Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you were hired by the defendant, Jordan Graham?
Yes, I was.
Is she paying you to be here?
Yeah, she's paying me.
Is she paying you to just simply give false statements?
No, why would I do that?
Because she's paying you.
Okay, she's paying me, but I have a reputation, don't you?
No need to get past that now.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I have a reputation.
If you have a reputation, do you have any significant certifications giving you expert training?
Yes, I worked with the FBI for 5 years. They qualified me for several cases that I worked on.
And what were some of those cases?
I don't know. I have to check in my records, which I do not have today.
You don't know?
I don't remember all the cases I worked on. I
And what
worked
was
5
your
years.
most
Objection, relevance?
Overruled. Can you give us one case? One famous case you might have worked on?
I worked on the O.J. Simpson case.
And what did you do during the O.J. Simpson case?
I analyzed the blood splatter at his house and all the evidence against him.
Now, you have an exhibit of footprints.
Yes, I do.
How can you tell the full of arm movements from just footprints?
You can't tell, but however, the footprints show that he was moving back and forth to swing or fight with her.
How can you tell if he was trying to swing at her?
The footprints are all over. He was moving around to get around her or get at her while she was moving away.
But that simply doesn't show arm movements. That just shows that he was scattering around her.
Okay, and his footprints follow right behind her. His overlap hers.
If the victim was right behind her, then how did the defendant manage to push him, who should be in front of her, off the cliff?
Because she was running away. The clump of hair that was ripped out turned her around, so she pushed him.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, you wish to redirect? The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense would like to call Emily Franks up to the stand.
Swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, after that. Please state your name for the record.
Emily Franks,
And why are you here today?
to testify about Jordan Graham's financial records.
Can you tell us what your occupation is?
I'm an offshore banker.
And where did you attend college?
Phoenix College.
What college degrees do you have?
I have a master's degree in business.
How long have you worked at your current job?
16 years.
Can you tell me where your current job is located?
It's located in the Cayman Islands.
What was your relationship with Jordan?
Jordan came to me when her parents died in a plane crash to inherit the account.
Why did Jordan inherit the offshore account?
Due to her being the beneficiary of the account.
And how did you know Jordan's parents?
They came to me years ago to set up the account, and they were customers of mine for a long time.
Could you tell us how much money was in the account when Jordan got it?
$37 million.
$37 million.
Yes.
What did you do for Jordan when he came to see you?
I gave her access to the account and discussed her options.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 12 into the record.
So noted.
Can you please explain to us what we're looking at here?
The principal balance is $44 million, and there has been no money withdrew from the account.
How much interest does Jordan receive?
She received $7.4 million every year.
Was Jordan irresponsible with her money?
No, Jordan lived a very modest lifestyle and spent her money very well.
What do you think of the prosecution's theory that Jordan killed her husband for life insurance policy?
I think it's absolutely absurd. She has more than enough money to last the rest of her life, and her grandchildren will never have to worry about money.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor. Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
When the defendant came to see you to collect her funds within the will, how old was she?
18 years old when she got access.
And how old can you be to collect these funds?
18.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to redirect?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense would like to call Michael Hicks to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record,
Michael Hicks,
and why are you here today?
to testify on my personal knowledge of Cody Johnson.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, I own my own construction business.
And how do you know Cody Johnson?
We've been friends our entire lives and he works for me.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 13 into the record, so noted. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
This is a picture of Cody and I on the job site.
What were some of the things that you and Cody would do together?
Some of the things we would do would be like going to the club or just hanging out and watching football
Can you tell us how long Cody worked for you?
for about 5 years.
And could you explain to us what Cody's work ethic was like?
Cody never really finished jobs and he was very rude to other employees.
What do you mean by he was very rude to other employees?
If they would try to help him, he would get angry and act out rudely.
When Cody would act out rudely towards other employees, would he ever act violently towards them?
Sometimes he would threaten them or hit them once or twice, but most of the time he would yell at them angrily.
Why did you keep Cody as an employee if he was so bad?
He was my best friend, and I knew nobody else would put up with him.
How would you describe Cody around women?
Cody was very flirtatious, but he never really treated women equally.
Was Cody rude to them also?
Yes.
Can you explain to us how he was rude?
Cody would often abuse women when he would get them behind closed doors.
Was Cody and Jordan's relationship violent?
Most definitely. Cody often abused Jordan.
Have you actually witnessed this abuse?
Yes, I often witnessed it.
Why didn't you ever try to stop Cody from abusing Jordan?
I did stop him on several occasions and talk to him about it. He promised me he'd never do it again. I couldn't be there all the time to protect her.
When Cody would abuse Jordan, how badly would he hurt her?
I don't know for sure, but it always looked really bad, and I know she frequently visited a doctor for her injuries.
When the two of you would go to the club you went to, was the victim ever hostile to women there?
No, he was just very flirtatious towards them and often cheated on Jordan.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter exhibit number 14 into the record.
So noted.
Can you explain to us what's going on in this picture?
This is a picture of Cody and I at a club with the girl he had an affair with.
And how do you know Cody and this girl had an affair?
Not long after they met, he came to me and told me that they had been sleeping together, and she often frequently visited him on the job site.
Do you know what this girl's name is?
I know her by her stage name, Foxy Roxy, but I.
Could you tell us what Cody's relationship was with Foxy Roxy, also known as Roxanne?
It was pretty much the same as Jordan's, if not, he was a little nicer to her.
Why do you think he was nicer to Roxanne?
That's how Cody was in the beginning. He would act all caring and loving, but as the relationship progressed, he would grow violent.
In your opinion, do you think Jordan murdered Cody?
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you say you were best friends with the victim?
Yes,
Why are you here today testifying against him if he was your best friend?
because I know I should have done something about his abusiveness a long time ago.
So why didn't you do anything?
Like I said before, I did do things to protect Jordan, but I wasn't really around for the past relationships he had.
Are you abusive?
No, I am not.
So how could you tolerate your best friend being so abusive?
Like I said before, I did not tolerate it.
And are you close with Jordan?
Not really, no.
So how would you know that she went to doctor appointments for all of these physical abuses and all of these violent acts?
I asked her almost after every time that he would abuse her, I'd ask her if she was okay and make sure that she would go to the doctor.
Did you feel sympathetic for her?
Yes,
And you say you weren't close with her, correct?
no, not really.
Why would you care so much about a person's health if you weren't close to her?
I care about anyone that has to go through something like that.
And did Cody ever tell you, hey, Mike, I just hit my girlfriend, or I just hit my fiance?
No, he knew that I was not okay with what he was doing.
So then, how could you possibly know if he never told you, which you did
Because I
say
was
that he
there
told
and
you?
witnessed it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Because I was there and witnessed some of it.
And you also said that he had told you that he had abused.
No, I told you that I had told him and talked to him, and he said that he would not do it again, but would not listen.
And you say that he treated women equally.
No, I said he did not treat them equally.
And in what ways would he not treat women equally?
Just the way he would act towards them, how rude and unfair he would be towards them compared to how he would be to males.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Defense, do you wish to read their rise?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
The witness may step down. Defense, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, defense would like to call Jordan Graham to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name for the record.
Jordan Graham.
And why are you here today?
I'm on trial for the murder of my husband.
How long did you know Cody?
I met him my freshman year of college.
And where did you two meet?
We met at the Route 66 pub. We used to meet there every Friday night to enjoy drinks and start off the weekend.
When would you say the two of you officially started to date?
He asked me out the senior year of college.
And how long did you guys date before you got married?
14 months.
Can you describe what the relationship was like between the two of you?
I always loved him. I thought I was nothing without him. But he was abusive and he would truly scare me. But if he ever left, I'd be all alone.
Did he ever seriously injure you?
Yes, he'd break bones and I would get concussions. But I would always go to the doctor. I'd get fixed up and I'd just try not to make him angry again.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 15 into the record. So noted. Can you explain to us what we're looking at in this photo?
That's a picture of my knee after an incident where Cody had pushed me down the stairs.
Did you go to your doctor regularly for the injuries you sustained from this abuse?
Only when it was serious enough, if I had a concussion or a broken bone, or if one of my cuts had become infected. Why didn't you ever file a police report? I loved him. He was just heated up in the moment, and he'd always come back and he'd apologize and promise it would never happen again.
Was Cody faithful to you?
No, I had learned he'd been having an affair.
Why would you stay with Cody if he was having an affair?
He was the other half to me. I was going to start a family with him. We were going to have kids and be happy. I thought the marriage would help.
Was Cody a wealthy man?
No, I wouldn't say he was wealthy, but he had enough money to get by.
Did you marry Cody for his money?
No, I had an inheritance account that I gained from my parents when they passed away.
Did you ever tell people about the money you had?
No,
And why didn't you tell people about the money?
because people treat you differently when you have money. They ask for favors and they don't see you as an actual friend. They just see your money.
So why are people saying you married Cody for his money?
Because Cody would give me all these expensive gifts all the time. But what they weren't understanding is because he hid me.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 16 into the record. So noted. What are we looking at in this photo?
It's a picture of me and Cody on our wedding day. I'm sorry.
Can you tell us about the next 7 days after the wedding?
There was a few more abusive episodes. I started to realize that the marriage wasn't fixing anything, and I wanted to meet with him and bring up the idea of a separation.
Can you tell us about the day that's in question?
I had asked Cody to meet me at Thatcher so that we could talk about a separation. I thought a nice public place would be a safe place to do it.
Where did you go once you got to Thatcher Park?
We went to go walk the Indian ladder.
And when you got to the Indian ladder, what happened?
I brought up the idea of a separation. Cody threatened to kill me if I ever actually left him.
And then what happened?
I went to go run away from him, and he grabbed me by the hair, and he pulled me back, and he punched me in the nose.
Your Honor, defense would like to enter Exhibit 17 into the record. So noted. Please describe what we're looking at here.
This is my nose after Cody punched me at Thatcher.
Can you tell me what happened next?
I grabbed onto my head and realized he ripped out a clump of hair. I was bleeding from my head and my nose. I tried to run away again.
So you did try to run away?
Yes, I tried to run away again, and he reached for my throat and he choked me. I pushed him away.
And then what happened?
I pushed him too hard. He fell off the cliff. I knew he could overpower me. I had to push him as hard as I could. I never meant for him to fall off the cliff.
Did you try seeking help?
Yes, I desperately called out to see if he would answer, but there was no answer. I remembered I was bleeding, and then I started to think I would get blamed for all this, and so I ran away.
And then what did you do?
I went straight to my doctor.
Why did you go to your doctor?
For my scalp laceration from Cody ripping out a clump of my hair and my broken nose.
Miss Graham, you do understand that you are under oath, correct?
Yes.
Then you are testifying under oath that Cody cheated on you, he threatened your life on a daily basis, and abused you.
Yes.
When you pushed Cody, was it out of self-defense?
Yes, I really truly thought he was going to kill me that day. It was me or him. I was just fighting for my life. I never meant for him to get hurt.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor. Prosecution, do you wish to cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, Ms. Graham.
Hi.
How afraid of Cody were you?
I was very afraid. I would go with my best friend every couple of days just to tell him how much I wanted to get away eventually.
And if you wanted to get away so bad, why did you go to Thatcher Park alone with a man that you're insanely scared of?
It's a public place that people go on a daily basis. There's many people running the trails and walking them with their dogs, such as the witness you brought to trial.
And after this incident, and when you left Thatcher Park, did anyone see you with these cuts or bruises and hair had fallen out?
My doctor.
At Thatcher Park.
At Thatcher Park, no, I went to my car and I drove away.
And once Cody was dead, could Cody hurt you anymore?
Man, he was dead. So why were you afraid of him even after that?
I never said I was.
You seem like a small girl.
Thank you.
How could you push a man, your husband, over the cliff of an edge? Over the edge of the cliff?
I was scared for my life. I didn't mean to push him off the edge. I just wanted him away from me. If you had to sit there and deal with the abuse every day, you would have done the same thing, ma'am.
And how could you have found the force to push your husband off of the cliff?
People can do extraordinary things in certain situations. If a child was under a car, a mom would be able to lift it up to save the child.
Do you have any statistics showing that?
I can pull one up within 2 seconds.
If you had gotten a black eye before the marriage, why would you still want to get married to him? I understand that you were insanely in love with him, but that's no reason for a man to hate you and to marry him.
I'm not excusing his behavior. I did a lot of things I understand that made him angry, but he was the love of my life, and I had no one else but him. So to lose him too, just because I was afraid of getting hit, didn't seem like a logical reason to me.
And if you had $37 million, why did you decide to work after?
Because I never wanted to touch that money. I wanted to have it there. So when I have children, they don't ever have to worry about money. They don't have to live the awful life I did. They would get to have a good life.
So why would you decide to work at Macy's?
Because my best friend was working there.
But that's not a good job. You could make millions of dollars doing something else.
I never went to college. Macy's was my best option.
And there is an exhibit showing that you had a bloody nose, correct?
It was a broken nose, and it was bleeding.
There is no evidence showing that there was blood found at the crime scene by neither of the forensic experts.
It all landed on my clothes. I wasn't leaning over to eat blood.
And why didn't you call the police at all after you had shoved your husband off of a cliff?
I was in shock, and then after that, I got a severe depression. I just lost the only person that ever meant anything to me in the world.
But if you loved him so much, wouldn't you want him to be found? Wouldn't you want him to not sit there and decay for 3 days straight? Wouldn't you want him to not be severed into pieces and limbs?
I didn't leave my house for 3 days. I sat in my bed and I cried. I didn't have the strength to get up or to talk to anyone about anything.
But why would you leave your husband there for 3 days?
As I explained before, I was in shock for a good day and a half, and once I got out of it, I realized what I had done and how I no longer had Cody in my life, and I just laid in bed and I cried.
But you loved him so much, why wouldn't you want to tell someone? Wouldn't that put your mind at peace?
It's not that I didn't want to tell someone, it was the fact I was so weak from laying in my bed and getting sick from crying so hard that I didn't have the strength to call anyone.
Or maybe you were just hiding the fact that you shoved your husband off of the cliff.
You mean asked and answered?
And asked and answered.
Succinct. We got
Thank you, nothing further, Your Honor.
I hate to cut you guys short, we gotta do closing, we gotta have the jury deliberate. Thanks. You got one question.
Ms. Graham, you were diagnosed with battered women's syndrome, correct?
Yes, I'm a psychiatrist.
So that is where you thought everything that happened in the relationship was your fault, correct?
Yes, I made Cody very angry.
Thank you, nothing further, Your Honor.
We're gonna cut off the cross and redirect, for time purposes, so the witness may step down. Nice job. Prosecution, would you like to give your closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell that you are all highly intelligent people. And I can tell that you have realized that the defendant's conniving, deceiving, and manipulative excuse of self-defense and battered woman syndrome is simply a lie. And you can also tell that this little act that she's putting on is truly just a disgusting lie. And you can also tell that the victim, a young, compassionate man, his life has been taken from him. And has not only been his life, but the lives who he loved the most as well. His significant other will no longer be able to talk to her, the love of her life, ever again. His younger sister will no longer be able to look up to her older brother again. And his mother will never be able to talk to her son again. All simply because the defendant shoved and killed her husband of 8 days out of envy and greed, putting that before true love. This was simply and extremely detailed and premeditated murder. She had the audacity to take a photo of the victim hanging onto the edge of a cliff during his last seconds of his life and sent it to his little sister. And this woman now needs to be put to justice for the rest of her life. This woman needs to be put to justice for the sake of the Johnson family. This woman needs to be sent away for the rest of her life for the victim, Cody Johnson. Thank you. Nothing further.
Defense, would you like to give your closing?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and thank you for your attention today. As demonstrated by our expert witnesses, my client is innocent. Jordan had a fight for her life on a daily basis. She was continuously abused, and as all our experts stated, all our stories match up. Now, as what the prosecutor has presented to you today, there is insignificant proof to convict my client of murder. None of their stories add up. The day of the question isn't even the right day, so how do you know what their case is even about? Jordan was physically and mentally abused for more than a year. She had a deadly threat on her case, and she did what she believed was the right thing to do. We are asking for a return verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in just a moment, I will turn this case over to you. It'll be in your hands. I would like to remind you that the burden of proof in this case rests with the defense. It was up to them to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that their defendant is not guilty by reason of self-defense. We ask you to make a decision about whether she's guilty of murder in the second degree or not guilty by reason of self-defense. I'll ask you to retire to the jury room at this time.
Now we have time for you to finish filling out your surveys if you want.
Mr. Foreman, has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Would the defendant please rise? Mr. Foreman, please read your verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Jordan, guilty of second-degree murder.
The defendant will be remanded to Rensselaer County Jail to await sentencing at another time. Court is adjourned.